Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, everybody. Today I'm interviewing Cindy Stevens, a top producer, realtor, and president of CL Stevens Realty in San Francisco. She's also a co-owner of Stevens Mechanical with her husband, Paul, an HVAC company that specializes in providing solutions for people with illnesses that need clean hair. Welcome, Cindy. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Before we get into your businesses, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a wife and a mother of two girls. And I own my own real estate company as well as the Stevens Mechanical. And I guess I have a really good skill of listening to people and finding ways to get people what they want or need. And I started in the real estate business in 2004, opened up my brokerage in 2012, and my husband and I opened up Stevens Mechanical in 2007, and we're located in the San Francisco Bay Area of California.
Okay. Also, in terms of free time, is there any free time left with all this work?
Actually, yes, there is. Being a business owner, one of the things that's hard about being a business owner, especially in the beginning, is learning how to manage time. Because you can get absorbed into one too many areas. And so I've had to, through the years, learn how to manage my time, so I do have free time.
Good. And then speaking of that, in terms of the process that got you into real estate, what led you into real estate? And did you know this was something you wanted to do from the start, or did you just stumble into it?
I definitely didn't stumble into it. I wanted this career. At age 19, I was making $3.35 an hour. And my boyfriend at that time was only making $6.30 an hour. But we decided we wanted to buy a house together. And we used an FHA program. And my dad's best friend at that time had just become a realtor, and we were his first clients. And I knew this was going to be my passion, but at that time I was so young. I didn't have the money for college, and I had to keep a roof over my head. So I felt at that time I would just, buy a house and start that way. And I knew the opportunity would arise later on in my life. I just needed to be patient, to have the money and the backing to get into the business. So I had to find a job that made me enough money to cover the books and the schooling. And my goal was that by the time my oldest daughter was in middle school, I'd be a realtor. I put myself on like a 10-year plan at the age of 19. And I knew very early on that I had to have steady money coming in to support my struggle in the beginning of building my business. And because I had seen many people in my family and some of my friends fail in this business, so I knew this was not going to be an easy career choice for me, but I wanted it.
And how about going into business with your husband? What led you to that?
In 2006, I was selling real estate and kept coming into issues with heaters and air conditioners not working. And it was hard to get a company out to look at the problem on such short notice. In transactions, we need someone to go out ASAP because we have contingency dates and deadlines we have to meet. My husband had 20 years of experience working for several well-known places such as like UC Berkeley as a stationary engineer and for large HVAC companies servicing in like the biotech industry, keeping like rooms at specific temperatures for experiments on for bacterial or for the animals that they were doing experiments on. And he couldn't help me because he didn't have the California contractor's license. And in our business, we need contractors for important mechanical issues on the houses. And he'd always worked under someone else's license in the union in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I told him, there's a need for a local HVAC contractor to do inspections and repairs for us real estate agents. If you go take your state test to become a contractor, I'll build your website and I'll get word out in my industry that you're here to help all of our clients, agents, and all the brokers. And then I had investors who do flips and need this type of work also. So we have partnered with investors, builders, agents, and clients. And when Paul and I see an opportunity for change, we don't worry about what if we're going to fail. We just jump head in first. So that's kind of how it all started.
So you had your life plan, but you also got your husband's life plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Little did he know who he had met 20 years ago.
Well, speaking of attributes, I mean, what personal attributes or traits contributed the most to your success, you think, and how do you figure you developed these along the years?
Well, my passion to learn never stops. I'm always taking classes on new programs, new laws, different specialties such as solar programs, hero programs, first-time buyer programs, probate, short sales. It's never ending. This is not something you learn right after you get your license or to get your license. You need a mentor, you need a broker, you have to sign up for classes, pay for the additional money for the classes to really be able to help people. And I stay connected at the local level, state level, and national level on new material that will help me to help my clients. My other trait is listening. I have to know what people need and want in order for me to help them. If I listen and then, use that knowledge from all the classes I've taken, I can find solutions for people. Someone once said to me, Cindy, if you can get people what they need or want, you will do fine in any business that you choose. Just listen and then make it happen for people.
Can you give some specific examples how these traits helped you be successful?
Oh, here's one. I had a young couple in their early 20s come to me and say, hey, Cindy, I want to buy a home with land so I can raise farm animals, get married, and have kids. He was a painter, and she worked at an orthodontist office. And they didn't want to use their savings, but they wanted to use 100% financing. So I was like, okay, I can do this, but it's going to come in steps. Let me explain. You're qualified for a home, and I know of a program that will get you into the house, but the home with the land you want is out of your price range, so we'll have to get you a nice home. You can marry, start your family, and maybe start off with a dog in the house. They do allow chickens in the city that they were looking in, so I did say you can get 6 chickens. And in the meanwhile, we're going to sit and wait for equity on this house, and I'm going to keep my eye out on a farm for you. You keep working towards pay raises and your financial goals. They were young, so I told them, you're going to move up, in your company. You're going to get raises over time. And within 5 years, I found them a 2-acre farm, and they had made enough money off that first home for their 20% down payment. And they had gotten married, they had their son, and they now have horses, cows, chickens, goats. And I listened to their need. I knew of a program from all the classes I had attended, and I got a plan together to get them what they really wanted. Their need was the first home, just getting a roof over their head, but their want was the farm, and I got it for them.
Nice. Well, I guess nobody ever becomes successful without encountering some adversities. Can you talk about some of these adversities you had to overcome to achieve your goals?
Time is one of them. Realizing I needed help and deciding where to spend money or if I should spend money. It's very easy to spend a lot of money on any one thing. You have to create a schedule to learn to work with clients, to teach, and you have to have time for your family. If you don't set guidelines for your work hours, you will find you accomplish nothing and people have sucked your time away from you. I had to learn to look for people in areas of my life, such as like maybe even house cleaning, for example. If you spend 2 or 3 hours a week on housework and you could have applied that to like networking, writing letters, connecting with people, then it's worth it to me to hire a house cleaner to come in once a week. You will not gain business from cleaning, so it's worth it to pay a cleaner to come in and help you get that. So that was easy to ask for help there. And paperwork in real estate, for a complete file, it's like over 200 pages, and it has to be organized. So if we ever get audited in the next 4 years, I don't make money putting these files together. So I hired an escrow coordinator, and she gets paid per transaction and collects all the papers and files in an organized manner. So if I do ever get audited, I can just take my files to the state. And the other thing is where am I spending money? I get at least 4 calls a week from different companies telling me that they can generate me leads to make me number one in the nation. And I got to thinking, I was like, if this was true, wouldn't all agents spending this money be number one in the nation? I spent money on a lot of things in the beginning, pens, websites, Google, Yahoo, you name it, I tried it. And then one day I said, enough. I'm not getting any business from any of this. I'm getting business from word of mouth, and I decided to build my own website and get started that way. So, yeah, those were some of my struggles.
That's interesting, very interesting. One thing that I often like to ask the successful people is what helps you keep going? You know, when you hit these obstacles, when you're at a low, what do you rely on to keep going?
Well, I have a daughter in the military, and I don't get to see her often. I try to take a month off each year to go see her. It's very emotional for me to talk about it.
I understand.
I also have a daughter in college, and I have to pay that college bill to make sure she gets her degree.
That'll keep you going.
Passion, yeah. My passion for handing keys to families or helping a family get through a probate. Probate's not an easy thing to go through. Helping someone get through that tough time is rewarding for me.
Well, a mother's heart is golden. I'm sure everybody can appreciate this. I'm sure everybody can appreciate what you're talking about here. I mean, this is for a lot of people what keeps them going. Their children and whatever it means for them, for now in the future, what is you're doing now. So I'm completely with you on that one. I appreciate you sharing this hard to talk about subject. Looking forward, let's just step it up a notch in terms of a business. Let's talk about business. This is more of a immediate and future approach that you have. What do you feel like is going to happen for you the next 5 years? Do you have a plan? And I'm sure you do, because you sound like that kind of person. But where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, for my real estate team, I'd like to have 3 trainers out training at least 1 to 3 agents. I'm currently training agents to think like me and work like me. I want to have them being ethical people with the same passion and drive as I do for training the new agents out in the field. And for my HVAC business, I'd like to have a crew of 10. We have 2 employees right now. And my husband is doing the diagnostics, and they do the repairs and installs. And I'd like to find a guy who can do the diagnostics and get a few more guys to handle the workload. Both Paul and I want to keep learning and building our team and reputation for both of our companies. So I do have a clear goal in mind.
That's awesome. One thing that I like to talk about when I discuss this with Realtor is the misconceptions that's out there about working with Realtor. What would be the biggest misconception or myth people have working with a Realtor, you think?
Well, that we're all the same, and it doesn't matter who they use. We're all overpaid and make tons of money. There's a handful of us who go out that extra mile to get extra educated, taking extra classes to get our broker's license. And in order to get a broker's license, you need to have many years of experience and transactions completed. Not just anyone can go get their broker's license. You have to prove you can handle a team and become a mentor. And you can check a realtor's license at www.dre.ca.gov under license lookup for the public. And you can see how long they've been in the business and if they have complaints filed against them. That is a great place to start. If you are new in the business, you can be a good realtor if you have a good broker teaching you step by step. So if you see a realtor and your broker's 200 miles living away, you can pretty much bet they aren't getting mentored one-on-one. I strongly suggest people checking up real estate license and as well as lender license off of the public websites.
Well, that kind of gets into the question I wanted to ask you.Maybe you can just expand a little bit on what you're just talking about. But let's say hypothetically you had a family member on the other side of the country that was thinking about selling their home. What, apart from what you just mentioned, what kind of advice would you give them to help them sell their home, and what should they do and what should they look for?
The first thing I would do is the license lookup at the state level. Each state has their own license lookup because we're each licensed in each state. Look at how long they've been in the business. Do they have any complaints filed on there, and are their fees up to date? Is their license expired? If they're new, is their broker 200 miles away? So you're asking me a question that I did deal with. My daughter, being in the military, was going to get stationed in Georgia. And she found a home she liked and asked me to call and interview the agent. And I started by looking up his license, and then that checked out fine. And I saw he had been in the business for 8 years, like I was at that time. And I drilled him on several questions about valuable short sales, foreclosures, neighborhoods, and new builders in the area. An agent should be able to quickly spit out information in all these areas if they're good. If they stumble, then I move on to the next agent. I'll interview any agent for anyone out of state. I also have people located in some states that I would recommend now, and I may already have someone. I network with people across the nation and around the globe.
Oh, great. Well, I mean, this was a lot of information in very little time. I really appreciate this. This is gold. But what if my listeners wanted to learn more or contact you and get in touch with you? How should they go about doing that?
Honestly, the best way to contact me is to call me or send me a text. And my number is area code 925-628-8388. You can find me on my website as well. But I pick up the phone, and texting are really the best ways to get a hold of me.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, Cindy. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to share all this knowledge with us and our listeners. I'm sure they learned a lot from this interview, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you once again.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.